Yeah, this is a cool song. So it's right before St. Patrick's Day here, and if you're in a cover band, this would be a cool one to think about. This is I'm Shipping Up to Boston by Dropkick Murphys. And if you're not familiar with this Learn the Songs series, we learn songs as you would approach them if you were in a cover band and you were playing live. So while it's not a note-for-note kind of transcription of songs that you hear on the record, like you find all over YouTube and Facebook, this is a series where we shoot to capture the essence of tunes, so that when you go to pull them off live, you know where all the hits are, you know what the feel of the tune is, and you feel confident, actually driving it home in front of a crowd. So this song has such a cool feel. It is that triplet feel, which I feel is best felt in 6. So even though the song has that pulse, right, where you're on the one, just boom, 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 you'll hear that the hits come in and you wonder, what is that? What exactly is that? Well, what you want to do is feel this in 6, so that it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the hits are on 1 and 3. So real slow, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your basic feel. And that carries you through the whole song. And when you have that little lick, that I was doing in the beginning there, that also, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is a standard, 3/4-ish feel that you find in Irish fiddle tunes. Thus, this Dropkick Murphys song, why it's so awesome, it takes both those hits and those traditional fiddle lines and gives it this big rock and roll feel, which just kills the crowd. I'm super excited to play this on St. Patrick's Day because I know people are going to go bananas. So let's talk about the different parts of the song and how you kind of put it together. So the song starts with just those hits on E right after the count in. So your drummer is just going to go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just an E power chord, right? Now, depending on how many pieces you have in your band, maybe it makes sense to have just the bass do that, or the bass and one guitar. But you start with those hits and that intro lick. That intro lick is in E minor, and I'll show that to you real slow. And if you listen to the record, or if you watch Dropkick Murphys do it, you'll see that they have a banjo, they have a fiddle, they even have a flute, and there's lots of different parts. There's a low, middle, and a high part. Depending on how many people are in your band, or if you want to, double or triple that part, that kind of determines whether you want to do it just low, just middle, high, or on your guitar. But no matter what you do, the harmonization is all just the same notes. It's not thirds, fifths, or anything crazy. It's all just staying straight in E minor. And what this is I'll show it to you here, is you have so all you're doing there is you're doing E, flat 7, so E, D, E, D, E, D, E, right? So that's just a root and flat 7. And then you're going to walk up the E minor scale. So that's F sharp, G, and then back down. And that is obviously your second and then your flat 3. So all the way back down to your flat 7 or your D. So, and I just happen to be doing this in open position. If you wanted to do it up here, it's this is part of pattern 2, right? Your E minor shape. And you do that again, but the second time, after the G, you jump up to your 5th and you grab a B note. So if you're doing it up here, it would be right, there's your B there. Again, we're sticking in that pattern 2. That minor pentatonic scale, that full minor scale. Anyhow, I don't want to get sidetracked here. So that's what you do, and then on the last time, it cycles down in a cycle of 3. So you have third time. So this would be the beginning of your 4th time. Start up on your 5th, that's B. So that's a set of 3. Then go to your next lowest note, which would be A. One more set of 3, right? You have so you got so B, A, G, right? A, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, D, your flat 7, and then E. So I think I messed it up a little bit before there, but to make sure I get this correctly, you're going 5th, 4th, flat 3, cycle again, 4th, flat 3, 2, flat 3, 2, flat 7, root. So it cycles down the scale. But on the last time, instead of going back to your root, it goes flat 7 and then the root. And if you're wondering what the modulation is, it sounds like it goes somewhere a little different after the intro. It does. It goes to B. And it's the exact same riff. It's the exact same intervals. So if you're playing it open like this, you can just move over to B. If you want a lower sound, right, that or if you want a higher sound, you can literally do the same pattern you were doing up here in E. You can do it in B right here. Let's talk about the rhythm parts behind that. So you start with the song, you count in, right? And it's just that bun dun, right? If it's a guitar and the bass, you figure that out with that intro lick. Then the second time you do that, after that set of 4, it does the same thing, but at the very end, there's hits on D and A that you want to grab with the full band, right? Then the form starts. Then you have that modulated part where the lick goes to B. And again, if you have 3 different instruments, you can have them all, low, middle, high, B part. And the rhythm guitar is going E, D, E, D, A, right? It ends on A there. And it's important, if you listen to the record and you watch them do it live, that if you're the rhythm guitar player for this, you don't stay just right here and do the same D and A or that you were doing before, that you kind of make a higher part. And the reason for that is when you go back into the verse, it sounds like the whole band is falling down to that lower grind point and kind of sells that more. So if you're the rhythm guitar player, you want to jump up to that higher rhythm part, do your power chords up here, and then go down. So the only other part to the song is the chorus. And the chorus, the drums change to that boom, boom-gato, 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 right? And, when you get to that point, you really want to just, and the bass walks a bit, and the bass actually walks a little bit in that modulation part too, when the lick goes to B and you're doing, E to D to A. You kind of have a tendency to want to overplay and do a lot of the rhythms in there, but don't, because in the chorus, when that bass is just driving, and when the modulated part, when the bass is kind of walking a little bit, if you just hold big, huge open chords, it's really going to let the drums and the bass really add that new groove, and it's really going to sell that kind of movement. So in the chorus, the lick stops. It's the only part of the song where the lick stops. So if you're the second guitar player, right, or if you were doing the lick and you have two guitars, you want to make sure that one of you is doing it low and one of you is at least doing it medium, or middle, I should say. It probably doesn't make sense to have a high part because this is a rock and roll tune, and the grindier and crunchier you can get, the better it's going to turn out. But the one thing to note about the chorus, the chords in the chorus, again, it's D, C, and G, right? So this is the I'm shipping up to Boston part. It's on the very last one, it goes, find my wooden leg, like that. You want everybody to see if you can nab that walk down, which is C, B, A, G, E, right? So that's that. If you can get that, you can nail the chorus. And that's pretty much all the parts of the song. And what's cool about this is that once you get through the intro, the song form is just two verses, two of the modulated parts, and then the chorus, and then you just double that whole thing. And then at the very end, on the second chorus, instead of doing that walk down where it's find my wooden leg, it just ends with D, and it's kind of staggered, A, kind of staggered, and then E. And it does add that lick back in again at the very end, just for those hits, that's kind of staggered. If you listen to it, it's very obvious what I'm talking about. So to recap, the rhythm, feel it in 6. Those hits are on 1 and 3. Let the drummer kind of count you in. Start with just those hits on E with the lick. Second time through, you can bring another guitar in, and you're still doing that lick. The drums, bringing that kick, drive it a little more, but everybody hits with D and A, the full band, to bring into that modulated part. In the modulated part, that lick goes up to B, but it's still the exact same intervals, right? You can literally just shift it. If you're doing open or whatever, it's just the B minor, and you just shift it. The guitars, or the other instrumentation behind it, are going E to D, E to D to A, but you want to try to do a higher part. If you were down here, bring it up and do a little bit of a higher part. And remember, the bass is walking in here a little bit, so try not to step on it. Just big, huge open power chords, let it ring out. Then when you have the chorus, it is D, C, and G. Again, you're letting this ring out because the bass is starting to drive and the drums change to that boom, bo-gato, doom, do-gato. So just let those guys groove and just let it hold out. If you have multiple guitar parts, make sure you at least have a low and a middle. If you need to do a high, you can try it, but basically it's a rock and roll tune. Keep it down there in that pocket. And when you end the Find My Wooden Leg, that's a walk down from C, C, B, A, G to E. You do that whole form twice, except at the very end, instead of that walk down, you do D, A to E, and it's staggered, and you add that lick in again, and you stagger it, and you can kind of do it with the hi-hat of the drums if you watch them do this. Live on Letterman where you can see a good example of that. But you stagger that lick with that D, A, E. And then you get to go drink a beer. So that is Dropkick Murphys I'm shipping up to Boston. Try it. It'll go over great. I'm really excited to play it this St. Patrick's Day. And yeah. So if you like this song series, this Learn the Song series, and this approach, please subscribe. It helps me a lot. And if you have a suggestion, please drop it in the comments, and I will do my best to put it on the list and get it out to you. And good luck. I'll see you in the next one.